Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you. This is Blair Miller, Atlanta News First Newsroom. I hope you're having a great week so far. It is a bit of a wild week because of the schedules and approaching the holiday on Thursday. So if you are where you need to be already, good for you. If you are on your way, it's going to be certainly, it was a busy day today on the roads and at the airports as we kind of laid out in the newscast. And then tomorrow will be even busier, we understand, at the airport. Some transportation officials were saying Tuesday really would be the busy day. So if you or where you need to be. Hopefully, it wasn't too bad for where you needed to be. And if you are traveling, we could have some rain coming up here on Thursday and Friday, and there's some cold coming behind it. And we'll hear from meteorologist Patrick Pete here in a few minutes and give you an update on the forecast because there are three first alert weather days that we need to talk about and keep you updated on. But first, I want to give you a quick update on some of the top stories that are happening out there because a lot of news unfolding here today. And here's a bit of what is making headlines right now.
Grabs. Police need your help finding the person who violently stabbed an employee at the United Community Bank on Caroline Street. A man accused of shooting at officers from the Four Seasons Midtown granted bond. Jay Berger must now undergo a psychological evaluation and stay at home under house arrest. Walmart rolling back some of its diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts after right-wing backlash. Atlanta Amazon drivers join the Teamsters Union as employees brace for the holiday season. A $6 billion loan headed to electric vehicle maker Rivian, jump-starting their efforts to build a factory here in Georgia. The White House trying to cut costs for Americans battling obesity, announcing a new plan to expand Medicare and Medicaid coverage for popular weight loss drugs. Atlanta's Shaky Knees Music Festival has a new home, the springtime staple moving to Piedmont Park next fall.
And those are just some of the top stories that we are following here in our newsroom tonight. We just wrapped up one of our editorial meetings where we talk with our reporters and our team of journalists here in the newsroom to get an update on where we stand on some of the coverage that we're following as we get to our 10 and 11 o'clock newscasts and a breaking story that was happening during our newscasts earlier this afternoon at 4, 5, and 6. Still unfolding at this hour out of Clayton County. I want to show you some video from the scene out there earlier today. And we had the first alert chopper out there as well. But what happened is something we're still kind of looking into tonight that happened in Clayton County, a death investigation underway here in Jonesboro. Police found the remains of a man who went missing more than 10 days ago. Friends were out here searching for Jair Schneider earlier today near Brown Elementary School when they found that silver car that you could see from the first alert chopper. Near that wooded area, they say they found the 31-year-old man inside the car. The car itself had veered off the road and ran into a tree. The man killed, what makes this kind of a different angle to all this, is a social media sensation. And our Bridget Spencer has been looking into this. We were just talking with her, and she's learning more right now about all this. And she's going to have more coming up tonight at 10 and 11, but just a bit of a bizarre situation. I want to show you a picture of Mr. Snyder, and you can see that we obtained here earlier tonight. But this investigation is still underway, again, in Clayton County in Jonesboro. And we will hear more from Bridget Spencer a little bit later this evening on our newscasts at 10 and 11. So I hope you'll join myself and Sean Gables as we bring you the day's news, but also update you on what's happening with the traffic situation. It's certainly going to be a busy day tomorrow as people get ready for Thanksgiving and get to where they need to be if they aren't there already. But also, we're going to be talking about the rain that's coming and the cold that is coming. And it sounds like it's going to be some consistent cold that we need to deal with. I want to bring in meteorologist Patrick Pete now, who's going to update his forecast and those three first alert weather days that we've been talking about.
Yeah, good evening. The forecast really centered around three first alert weather days as we look ahead. Unfortunately, to the Thanksgiving holidays, Thursday and Friday are both first alert weather days. Thursday, we're tracking scattered rain and thunderstorms. There's been a little bit of an elevation in Thursday's rain and storm opportunities. We could get a rogue strong thunderstorm, maybe even a severe storm. So that's going to be a moderate impact. We do think Friday is going to be a lower impact. It's going to be a transition day where cooler air starts to filter in. It's going to be a little bit breezy and it's going to be chilly, but it's going to be manageable. But it is also Black Friday, and a lot of folks are going to be getting out and about, getting into the streets, looking for those deals, taking advantage of a lot of sales. And you're going to be doing this getting in and out of the car all day. And as nice as the 60s have felt today and as nice as they're going to feel tomorrow, and even Thursday is going to be quite mild. Friday, we'll lose nearly 15 degrees in some places as far as afternoon temperatures, and that is going to be a shift. And that may require you to need a jacket, and that's the only reason that is a first alert. But looking ahead to Monday, that's going to be a more moderate impact. That's going to be a higher impact for sure. We have not seen widespread freezing temperatures here in Atlanta since earlier this year. Matter of fact, typically you get your first widespread freeze around November 13th. We're a little bit behind the curve on that. So we're going to welcome this in a sense like we're supposed to be transitioning into winter, but at the same time, our bodies aren't going to like it. And that's why it's a first alert weather day. The temperatures in the afternoon are actually quite chilly as well. Let's get you through the overnight hours because some of you may have plans. Temperatures are going to trend cooler tonight than they were last night. There's a couple of reasons. Number one, we had a cold front move through the area earlier today. It brought some scattered showers. It also shifted the winds. Tonight also we're tracking mostly clear skies. Without clouds, you don't have your thermal blanket, so nothing traps heat, right? So all of the heat escapes the atmosphere and we see cooler numbers through the overnight. So be prepared to start off the day in the low 40s if you're in the city, and if you're in any of the suburbs, we could expect temperatures in the upper 30s for morning lows. So I think we're all going to need that light jacket tomorrow. The afternoon numbers do gradually rebound by around noon. We're already flirting with 60 degrees area wide. We'll see a good mix of sun and clouds before clouds start to build back into the area late day. So around 5 o'clock, we'll start to see clouds starting to trickle back in. Temperatures are already dropping at that point. And even a spotty shower or two cannot be ruled out closer to midnight. It's going to be real isolated, but it's a non-zero chance, so something that we'll be watching. There's been a little bit of shift in the data. We were talking about this last night. A lot of the guidance was indicating that this was going to be a progressive line of storms and rain that was just going to move in and move out. Now it looks a little less progressive, which means it could slow down just a little bit. So instead of this being out of the area by 8 o'clock, it looks like we could see this linger into the early afternoon. And we mentioned yesterday that this was a possibility. Looks like things are trending in that direction. So that first alert weather day for Thursday is going to be beyond the morning hours. It's going to linger into the afternoon as the showers and the rain will continue. So 6 a.m. we're seeing some lighter showers, but as we head into the 10 o'clock hour, that's where some of the rain gets a little bit heavier. This is also where we could get some of those isolated rumbles of thunder. And once again, that chance for a rogue severe thunderstorm is there. So it's something we'll be watching through the 2 to 3 o'clock hour, and then eventually things trend a little bit drier as we head into the evening. This also means that if you were planning on going to walk off some of that turkey, some of that sweet potato pie, some of that cake, some of that mac and cheese, some of those greens, you may need to find out if there's a treadmill nearby because you may not be able to do that outside. There is a level 1 out of 5 risk for strong to severe thunderstorms, mainly with this line that pushes through after around 8 a.m. Our primary concern here is going to be damaging wind gusts, but there could be some heavy downpours embedded in this. This doesn't really look like the setup that would give us large hail or anything like that, but maybe some very tiny hail could be possible. Something that is of note is that while there's not like a significant tornado risk, there is a non-zero chance that we could get a rotating thunderstorm. So this is something the First Alert Weather Team is going to be on all over as we get a little bit more data. We always talk about high-resolution data, low-resolution data. Once we get within 48 hours of an event, we get higher resolution data so we can get a better idea of what that environment looks like. And we're getting very close to that 48-hour window for whenever these showers and storms are moving through. So we're continuing to get more and more data. That's why we were able to elevate this conversation to the chance for some strong to severe thunderstorms. And as we dive through more data tonight and into tomorrow morning, we'll get a better sense on exactly where that potential lies. And we'll, of course, bring that to you here on the First Alert Weather app and in the newscast and on AtlantaNewsFirst.com. So beyond that, the story will shift because once the rain exits Thursday afternoon, we're going to see that Arctic air start to dive in. So we'll start to see some very cool numbers as early as Friday morning. A lot of folks are going to start off the day in the 30s. It's going to be very chilly. It doesn't really let up. Friday afternoon, we top out near 50 degrees, but it's going to be breezy, so it's going to feel like the mid to upper 40s. We just dealt with that a couple of days ago, admittedly, but we just want to remind you that it's coming back. But it just gets worse as we head through the weekend. Saturday and Sunday, temperatures struggle to hit that 50-degree mark both afternoons, and the mornings are going to be colder. So we mentioned that we hadn't had a widespread freeze so far this season. It looks like we'll do that this weekend for sure, Saturday or Sunday, maybe both days. And then Monday, the air gets even colder because the jet stream essentially digs deeper and it just funnels in more of that polar Arctic air into the region, and that's going to be something that we'll have to deal with into the beginning of next week. I did want to break down this hour-by-hour Black Friday shopping forecast. I don't really know how many people get out in the streets at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. to get the deals anymore because, you know, we're shifting our buying habits or whatever. But if you are somebody that's going to be getting out to try to catch some of those doorbusters, which I know some of them are great, just be prepared for the cold, especially if you're going to be standing in a line, potentially waiting. You're not going to want to do this with a piece of fleece or something light because it is going to be breezy. So even though 39 degrees doesn't sound like a terrible temperature, because it's not, whenever you factor in the wind, it is going to feel a little bit cooler than that. And if you're just standing in one place for 30 minutes, maybe an hour, I don't know what the lines look like these days, but if you are, this could be something that's uncomfortable. So just make sure that you dress for the weather, dress for the cool temperatures, and even the afternoons. We get into the upper 40s, hit 50 for an hour or two, and then we cool back down. Saturday, I mentioned, was going to be colder. We top out in the upper 40s in Atlanta. If you're in the suburbs, that's mid to low 40s, and that's your max. And whenever we show these maximum temperatures, especially in the wintertime, it's kind of important to remember that that maximum temperature doesn't stick around long. Wintertime highs typically last, depending on if there's a lot of clouds or what the setup is, they normally last for an hour or two. So you're going to hit that max, and then you're going to warm up to the max, hang out at it for an hour or two, and then you're going to cool back down. So don't expect for the 52 degrees on Sunday to be, 52, I can handle that. I can do my Sunday fun day for a few hours. No, that's like an hour or two. So just remember to bundle up. Unfortunately, Monday, we see those numbers dive even further. Arctic air really dives in, and we're topping out in the upper 20s at Hartsville-Jackson. That means that if you're in the suburbs, it's mid-20s. If you're in the mountains, we're talking low 20s, maybe upper teens at some of the higher elevations. So it is just going to be a colder day. It's going to be a colder feel, and that's why Monday is the first alert weather day. It's going to be the coldest day we've had in months since February. So definitely some cooler air for sure. Things start to trend a little bit better for us by Tuesday, but we're still in the 40s. And even whenever we extend out that forecast to day 10, we don't really see much of an improvement. We're going to stay below average through the first week of December. If you're curious at what some of those numbers look like, the First Alert Weather app actually has a 10-day forecast on it. We update the app all day throughout the day as we get new data. And if you've with us and you've joined us before, you know that once you get to day 8, day 9, day 10, it's fluid. It's going to be in flux. But you can get an idea. We do see that overall pattern of these cooler than normal temperatures sticking with us into the month of December, which is what a lot of folks have been asking for. You've been wanting to wear your hoodies. Now you just need to throw a jacket on top of your hoodies. All right, so I'm going to go back to the 7-day forecast and leave the 7-day forecast up so that you guys can take in everything that you need. Obviously, we're getting more and more data on this rain and thunderstorm opportunity, and you're going to want to check with us tonight at 10 on Peachtree TV and Atlanta News First at 11. We'll get 2 more runs of the HERB and the graph model in, so we'll be able to update you on that. And then we could dive into that severe potential, because with new data, that severe potential may or may not shift, and you can catch that tonight at 10 or 11 on Atlanta News First. Y'all have a fantastic evening.